My absent sister need advice. I've gotten into a bit of a pickle with my sister and I'm not sure how to move forward. P.S. Please forgive all the errors. I've not had a decent night's sleep since DST. Background: my sister, mid-30s, and I, late 30s, have never been especially close, and that space between us has grown exponentially after reaching adulthood. Furthermore, my sister and my husband have a strong dislike for each other. My husband is civil, my sister slightly less so but doesn't cause a scene or anything. I got married and had kids. Meanwhile, she lived at home until all of about 5 minutes ago, never had much in the way of steady relationships up until a couple years ago, got married after 6 months. I barely know the guy, he's a bit of a stiff, but otherwise seems okay. My only issue with them is it feels like my sister has really changed her personality to like what he likes kind of thing. Got house and a steady job and cannot have kids. Not that I specifically recall her ever really wanting them or not. Apparently now she really wants them, and that goes back to liking what he likes. With that last bit in mind, I've given her a lot of grace when it comes to the kids. My sister has had the absolute barest of minimum contact with my kids. Never came the hospital, even though I was there for a while with complications. Didn't see the babies until holidays when everyone got together. No FaceTime, how are you doing, how's going? Just nothing. I think the last birthday, theirs or ours, she attended was like 7 years ago. My eldest is 12. After that, it was maybe phone calls before just a text. We live an hour apart. Now, I'm not innocent in all this. I visited every now and then prior to kids. Holidays were alternated between husband and my family. I tried to attend her birthday, but didn't always make it, and correspondence was about the same energy. Like I said, we were never all that close. Couple that with I'm a massive introvert, so I've been pretty bad about pushing myself to be social, even with family. After kids, packing up toddlers and driving an hour, visiting for hours, and driving another hour home was chaos. On to the issue. After very little contact with my kids, my sister texted me out of blue. The last time we texted was her birthday like 7 months ago, and then she turned it into a political fight, even though she was never that political, asking if maybe my eldest could come stay with her for a little while during the summer. I'm sorry, what? The last time my sister saw my kiddo in person was over a year ago, at her wedding that she decided was on said child's birthday, and before that, I can't even remember. Certainly not her last 2 birthdays before that. My husband answered the text with some very unkind words. He wasn't wrong, but he wasn't diplomatic with it either. My sister is pretty tightly wound to begin with, so she flipped, called and attacked like a rabid Pomeranian because she thought I said it. What do you mean? Why did you say that? On and on. A lot of, well, you don't do this, and a lot, you don't either, was said. I tried to be calm and rational, tried to smooth things over. My sister, much less so, tossed out all these whataboutisms. I suggested maybe we can have dinner together, go to the farmer's market together, a day trip over the weekend, reacquainting herself with the kids type thing. She put the kibosh on those suggestions. Apparently her life is just too busy. Again, my husband chimes up and my sister hangs up. I text my mom right after because then it's a race between me and my sister as to whose version of the story gets there first. I think my mom has finally accepted that my sister and I are just going our own directions, so she kind of checked out of conversation instead of being embroiled in the conflict. I don't blame her. Haven't spoken to my sister since, and my mom hasn't mentioned the dispute. I don't not want my sister in my kids' lives, but I'm not going to just ship my kiddo to an area she's unfamiliar with. We live in a rural area with a small town nearby, sis in, I guess technically a city, but my main concern is overflow from a major city, and with someone she barely knows. I should add my daughter has some delays. She's not incapable of doing things. Sometimes it takes a little nudging, but there's definitely some issues with her cognitive development. So what do you think? Should I try reaching out to my sister? Do I wait for her to come to me? I still don't want to just loan my child out to a relative who's shown no interest in her life up until now. How do I put this conflict to bed because despite not being very involved with each other's life, I still don't bad feelings between us.